your Cold War anymore. Oh no. But I have a feeling that we never really.
Mute. Sorry, guys. I did it again. I screwed up. I didn't unmute. Welcome aboard, folks. Nice to have you here. First in the chat, Rob on the road. And folks, yes, we're going out on 2 channels. We're going out on Helping Hands for Cruising and the Down Under Cruises. Plus, we're on our 2 Facebook pages. So there we go. Rob on the road is first up, followed very quickly by Michael Ann. Sport Mama, welcome aboard, Michael Ann. Meg had a bit of fun. Sorry you're in bed asleep without power, but that's no good that your phone has been hacked. So we will, I will get in touch with Kenny and get your details up there. We've got Fordman. G'day, Kenny. Welcome aboard, buddy. Nice to have you on board. Okay, Kenny. Question: have you or have you not been to bed? That is the question of the moment. Kenny has shared it. Thank you, mate, for sharing out and on Facebook and in the community tab. Really appreciate that, buddy. Okay. Oh, well, there we go. G'day, Greg. Yeah. Well, there's another Aussie in. Welcome aboard, Greg. Greg's 20 days, I believe, or 18 days away from a cruise. Greg, maybe you might be able to just give us a heads up on what cruise you're on and where it's headed. So that'd be awesome. Okay, Rob's saying his usual good days. Facebook user. Okay, Facebook user. Unfortunately, don't know who you are, but g'day. Put in your details and we'll know who you are. Otherwise, come over to the YouTube side of things. Rob is saying no audio. Well, I hope you got audio now. We've got, okay, Kenny, I was hoping you had it now because I just hit the mute button and I unmuted myself. So there we go. All we need is a ventriloquist. Philip, first of all, g'day. Second of all, talking to the hand. This is the hand. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Everybody's saying g'day to everybody, which is awesome. Kenny's not in bed yet. Oh my goodness me. Not in bed yet. Mate, there comes a time when you do need some sleep. But I hope you've had an awesome day and that you haven't given Scott and Amber too much stress. Because I know Scott wants to jump in on the chat as well. So there we go. Oh, it's Bonnie. Welcome aboard, Bonnie. Nice to have you here. I hope you had a good hug. I hope everything worked out well for you over the break, and that you're only on to bigger and better things. Philip, keyboard does not know how to spell. Oh, now it's the keyboard's fault. I can honestly say that it's not my keyboard's fault. Stream Elements is saying, welcome to Hump Day with the Down Under Cruises. Please support the channel so that we can support Helping Hands for Cruising. Well, yeah, Kenny is the only recipient right now, and he can tell you how good the cruise was. And in exactly 67 days, we will have another cruise going on, and the recipients of that cruise will be able to tell you exactly what the cruise is like and what Helping Hands has done for them. So there we go. Okay, you've been up all night, mate. That means, okay, count the hours. Have you been up for 24 hours? If you have, mate, I'm a little bit disappointed. I think you need some sleep. But I'm happy that you're here in the chat, because with Meg not around, I need somebody who will be a moderator, and you, of course, are moderator extraordinaire. So there we go. All right. So just keeping people in the chat and letting them figure out what's going on. We've had some interesting things happen. I don't know if some of you guys noticed that we had a live stream yesterday with Radio Jonesy. It was a trial, and it appeared that the trial went really well. So it's going to be a weekly occurrence that Jonesy and I are going to be working together and doing our general our once a week chat as to what's happening down under, and we'll cover all sorts of things Australia and New Zealand. So there we go. Rob is saying, now that the festivities are over, we shall return to our regular schedule of what? Motley buffing of Sean's head and general hijinks. Yeah, I can go with that. Because it does need a shine. It's a bit out of shine for the moment. Michael Ann is feeling sorry for, I don't know whether it's me or Rob, but I can handle rejection. So there we go. I was having a look, and it was Greg was going on one of the Royal Caribbean ships that is going out of Australia, out of Sydney, I believe. And so it's doing the South Pacific, if I'm not mistaken. G'day, Jonesy. How you going, buddy? Have you recovered from the show yesterday? Well, we're still getting people in, so that's a good thing. So, yeah, awesome. How do Radio Jonesy from the Gov? So, currently going out of let me just have a look, the cruise schedule out of Sydney right now. Greg has got it's a Royal Caribbean, it's going out of Brisbane, and he's got 15 days to go. Oh my goodness me. Apparently we're chopped liver when it comes to mods. Well, no, that was not intended like that. Don't be like that. Because you mods do a great job, and I like to keep you. I like to be with you mods, and because I'm one of the mods, and Kenny is a mod extraordinaire, and Meg is not in the chat. She's gone to sleep, as per her message earlier on. So there we go. I'm not trying to stomp on anybody's toes there. Yeah, Greg, not that you're counting. I know you're not counting much. 15 days. How many seconds? If you were me, you'd be doing the seconds trick. How many seconds? Okay. January the 4th, out went Ovation of the Seas. And coming in, and also Silver Shadow. Coming in, what came in was Viking Orion, and that's going out on the 6th. Seabourn Odyssey comes in tomorrow and leaves tomorrow. And then it comes back in on Friday. That's interesting. That's a quick one evening turner. It goes to the Eden Wharf, and then it goes to the Overseas Passenger Terminal. Followed by, on Friday, you get Azamara Quest, and then on Saturday, the Queen Elizabeth. those are all the ships going out of Sydney tomorrow and the day after. Rob on the Road is saying to Jonesy that he enjoyed the show. Minor point, maybe vet your guests next time. Gov, I did give you the crank handle, the wrench, at one point. As quick as I give it to you, I can well, let me put it this way. Jonesy, I think we should put the governor on a ship and get him transported to Australia and see what it's like. Michael Ann is saying, just kidding. Yeah, I got it. Greg is saying 15 days, 19 hours, 49 minutes, 23, 22, 21, 20, 18 seconds. So many ships in our waters at the moment. Yes, that's very true. And good ones. Although we've had some negative stuff like the Viking Orion being stopped for what do they call it? Bio something or other, where they've had to clean the ship at the bottom. And also just outside of New Zealand, they've had the Coral Princess was stopped for a clean-up. Now, but the point I've got to ask is, how the hell do they know what's at the bottom of the ship before it actually hits the port? So is it somebody just dives down there and has a look? Is it a sensor? Is it a weight thing? I don't know. Jonesy to Rob on the Road. That's funny. Yep, he's right. It is funny because he was only vetting me. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's see what's going out of Melbourne. So today we had the Azamara Quest, which came in and went out. The Celebrity Eclipse as well. We've got Queen Elizabeth coming in tomorrow, and then the Viking Orion coming in on Sunday. So that's what's happening out of Australian waters. If Arthur comes in at any point, Arthur can come and tell us what's going in and out of Adelaide. Thank you, Jonesy. It is biosecurity. I just want to know whether they have underwater cameras on the approach. What, when they're like thousands of meters, all right, hundreds of meters out of the port that they're going into? Or do they have a set of dolphins that goes up and swims and checks the ship and then goes back to base and says, there's too much bio there for us? The governor's saying a strike force of ocean-going Karens. Well, you know, I wouldn't disagree with that comment. You'd be pretty well right, because that's what I reckon there are. Definitely a dolphin goes Greg, and I agree with that. Definitely a dolphin. Either that or a humpback whale, which comes in and... No, but this too far out for seals. Yeah, it's more like dolphins. Absolutely. More like dolphins. Well. G'day, Dan. Welcome aboard. Nice to have you here. They can tell also by their headway, loss of speed. Now, okay, but doesn't a ship slow down before it actually goes into a port? So what are you saying? That half the ships that are going really slowly, it's not because of engine problems, it's because of biosecurity. I mean, let's take a look at what's been happening in Alaska with some of the ships going into Alaska there. They were going slowly. Was it because of biosecurity or bio whatever it is? Or has it been because they had faults with their engines? Don't know. I'm just putting it out there. But at any rate, welcome aboard, Dan. It's nice to have you on board. We haven't had you in so early for ages. So welcome aboard. Stream Elements is just giving us a heads up on the Helping Hands for Cruising Facebook page. As well as that, for you blokes, just to let you know, sorry, folks, just to let you know, Helping Hands for Cruising does have a website. It's Helping Hands for Cruising with a number 4, as it is written there. Helpinghandsforcruising.org is the channel, is the website, I beg your pardon. Have a look there and it'll lead you into the Facebook page and also into some of our merch and so forth. Too much barnacle growth, need to clean and apply anti-foulant. Yeah, well, that's what they've had to do. But it was all happening outside of Milford Sound and also outside of Adelaide. Those two areas there. G'day, Mike. Welcome aboard. Yes, Bonnie, too many barnacles. That's what they've been reckoning. Couple of people saying g'day, g'day. Okay, now Philip has a really important question. Wonder if they have oyster in the MDR the next day. Of course they had oyster in the MDR. Where do you think they got their stock from? They didn't have to go. They got it for free. Well, actually, it's not so much as free because those divers cost an extreme fortune to get out there and under the water. In actual fact, I used to work with a lady who became a diver to do that kind of stuff. I think she was doing first aid training with us at some point. At any rate, that was her favourite thing, was to go and have a diving business, and that's exactly what she did. She did diving, and there she went and did cleaning ships. The governor is saying, looked it up. Apparently, the ship has to report its anti-fouling records on approach. Australia and New Zealand authorities decided that they were good enough and forced an inspection and clean. Seriously? How do they know how much they got on the bottom of the ship? Okay, they know that their filters fill up because they're intake filters which are bringing in water that they're using. But how do they know these creatures are anywhere else along the ship? And how much is along? Okay. All right, Dan said that it was a matter of the ship slowing down, yada, yada. All these experts. Now, Gov, don't you go down that path. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that the X is the unknown quantity and the spurts that drip under pressure. Shut up, Sean. Back to my caffeine hit. And it is caffeine that I'm partaking of now, folks. All right, enough of these, enough of the jocularities, as they say. Increase in fuel consumption. Well, that could be also due to a number of things. Not only do we have bits and pieces on the bottom, but we also have rough seas and headwinds. That could also increase fuel consumption. But you are the expert, so I will bow down to your superior knowledge. Thank you, sir. Well, if it isn't a Rob Rob from Cruising on the High Seas, g'day. Wow, we get you 2 days in a row. Now I better get a lotto ticket. Maybe I might win. And that is true, my friend. You might. You might actually get to make it to the 2025 Down Under Cruises group cruise. So the governor's saying, I guess they had recorded how many times they had washed the hull in the last 2 years, Pando season, and the authorities decided it wasn't enough. I can go with that. Thank you. Well, Dan, it's a pleasure. You are the expert, my friend, and I will bow down to your superior knowledge, seeing as I can't even spell the word ship, let alone, I mean, I can cruise on them, but I do get into trouble occasionally for my spelling, so there we go. So I'm going to behave on that point. Stream Elements are saying, we'd like to thank all of you who donated to Helping Hands for Cruising. Please continue to do so that we have more recipients joining us on our next cruises. But in actual fact, we're very fortunate that at the next cruise we've got on board, we've got actually 2 recipients. Not only do we have James and his wife Cindy Catanese, but we also have Scott and Amber Hicks, who will be joining us on board that cruise ship. So there we go. It's going to be real good fun. Rob is saying 2025, 26, maybe 24, 25. More likely not, but who knows? Okay, you're confusing me with numbers. January 2025 is when we got our group cruise, so either you come or you don't. Oh, good on you, Jonesy. 2 devices on, so that means we've got 25. No, we haven't. But that's cool. Good to see. And we're going to have lots of fun as we go through. 2 devices. I'm feeling rather special here. Okay, so the reason why we don't, at this particular point, have the 2025 cruise up is that all the itineraries are not out yet, and so we're just looking for the itinerary that suits. We're trying to leave as close to New Year's Eve out of Sydney on within the first week of January 25, and do possibly a South Pacific cruise. Ilana would like to go back to Fiji to see where she came from and so forth. So that's going to be the great thing that we're going to be checking out, and get everybody to come along with that. A couple of things that we're planning to do, so we'll see how we go. Question from Dan to Mike, and I guess every one of us will want to ask the same question. Pancakes and coffee? I know what I want. Jonesy is saying this is on the big screen in the house. Oh, that's cool. So we're in your house. So Mike is saying, sounds good actually. So can we all come on in, Dan? Are we all allowed in? Is that okay with you? Jonesy has family living in Fiji. Well, that's all the more reason why you should come on the group cruise, mate. And then you can get to spend time with the family. That'll be awesome. Rob is saying, anyway, not all. Are you off to work, mate? If you are, have a safe shift and enjoy your day's work. The governor, Scotch and waffle. Scotch and a waffle. Well, that sounds even just as good. Mike is getting his braces on. Seriously? Getting your braces on? Goodness me. Yeah, Kenny, somebody say coffee? Unless the coffee statement is exactly the same as spaghetti ice. All right. I knew Greg would give me the answer. Under the Security Act 2015, cruise vessels wishing to enter a port that is non-first point of entry must apply for and be granted permission by the department prior to the arrival of the port. Dad, sure, come on over. It's a long swim. That coffee will be cold. Greg goes, continuing. In addition to the above requirements, cruise vessels must also submit the following documents to the department prior to arrival, pre-arrival report. Good on you, Gov. I tried to tell him that and he wouldn't listen, so obviously I'm not dad enough. Maybe your lovely blustering voice might get him doing that. Greg continues. Cruise vessels entering the Australian territory are required to submit this form with 96 to 12 hours of their estimated time of arrival at the first point of entry. Ballast water report. A ballast water report must be submitted before or with the PAR. PAR is what the other document was, right? Pre-arrival report. Okay, there we go. Kenny's saying he's drinking coffee and now have been since before the show started. Okay. Greg, continuing. Can only put 200 characters in the chat. We know that. We know that. Kenny is going, no bed here. Well, I know there's a bed where you are. Unless you're with Pa, there is a bed where you are. So get up off the chair and go to the bed. Greg is saying, so therefore, no dolphins. Ballast water report. Well, okay. So they'd know some stuff in the ballast water. There we go. See, trust Greg. I know he would find out all the right answers for me. And if he's going to find out the right answers for me, he's going to find out the right answers for everybody. You see, you live and learn on our channel. You live and learn. All right. So, hang on a minute. Just a second. Okay, Jonesy's saying good day to Kenny. And why did I say just a second? Look who's just popped in. The lady Meg. Well, the storm woke me up. Guess what? We're staying up until the phone dies. Okay, you still got no power? How come you got no power? Is it the storm killed the power? The governor. Floaty Boaty answers to no government. It sails under its own flag. No reports or documents here. Now, Gov, do you guys have similar type of documentation or reporting that goes on for ships going into and out of the UK? It'd be an interesting one. By the way, Greg, close your ears for a minute. Rob, I will be going into the office tomorrow and having some of that lovely scotch that I've got left over. I've still got most of the bottle left. Yep, the storm. Okay, so are they likely to put the power back on, Meg, sometime soon? Good morning, Meg from Kenny. I haven't received anything from you yet. What were you sending, Meg? Or is it not for this particular, it's not a discussion for this particular group? And Greg knows I've got him there. Haha. Well, for those that may or may not know, Greg and I work together. So there we go. The governor is saying we have a document for literally everything and then some more. Yeah, but do they get filled out? Or is it the German side of things that taught you how to fill out documents? Meg, hey, Kenny, can you send me a message then? All right, Jonesy, I'll tell you something, fishy. Every time I'm on the Spirit of Tasmania, I see dolphins on every crossing. You know what, Jonesy, we were on the Golden Princess, and when we took the Golden Princess, we were doing a Melbourne to New Zealand return, and we were coming into Milford Sound, and there were a pack of dolphins guiding us into Milford Sound. It was the most unbelievable experience I've ever had. It really just, it blew my mind. Meg saying good day to everyone. So, see if I can get this up and running. I'm going to try and get a video shared if the memory on the computer will, well, it's not a memory issue. I know that it's not a memory issue because I've upgraded all the memory and there's plenty there. So let me just see. There we go. Oh, well, no, it's not that one. It's actually this one, and it's this one, and it's this one. So, folks, let's see how we go with getting this particular thing shown. It's the first official. There we go, folks. That is the group cruise that the fantastic cruising group are taking out of Tampa, Florida, and that will be going around the West Caribbean, I believe that to be. And on that cruise will be James and his lovely wife Cindy Catanese, and also Scott and Amber Hicks, who will be going on that cruise. So that's going to be an amazing cruise. I know they will. Greg is saying that he's seen dolphins on nearly every Pacific cruise that he's been on. And Kenny is going on Facebook Messenger to Meg. So there we go. The governor is saying, oh, yes, I have a friend who is a CO first mate for a certain large shipping line. He spends his life doing paperwork. Yeah, there we go. Good on you, Jonesy. 3 devices, that's exciting. And a news. Thank you. Thank you very much. And to all those who have subbed on our channel, thank you so much for doing that. Your support is greatly appreciated. What I'm going to ask you folks to do now is hit the like button. See how many likes we can get up there. So that's awesome. And at the end of the day, folks, we love doing this as a hobby. And so what we want is the more we can get actually on putting on videos, the more subs we can get, and the more likes we can get, the more we get out there, the more we can improve other people's lives. What can I say? It's special. Okay. Yep. Tasmania ASMR, it is appreciated. Very much so. Thank you. Okay, so that's going to be the group cruise going out on the 12th of March. On the 28th of March, Ilana and I, for those that do not know, Ilana and I will be taking my sister and my parents and a couple of those of you that are out there. We're going on the Grand Princess, which will be sailing out of Melbourne, going up to Sydney via a port called Eden, for those across the pond. So whilst it's not a group cruise as such, we're classing it as a group of mates. So come on board if you wish, and we'll be sailing out of Melbourne. It'll be a great time. Those of you that are available to join us, I think we'll have an awesome time. We've got Mr. James Catanese. Welcome aboard, buddy. We just showed the picture of your group cruise, the one that you're going on in March. We just showed that on our play. So I hope you saw it. If not, I'm sorry, mate, but you're gonna have fun. Tasmania ASMR says, yes, it sounds great, and it does sound great. It is awesome. It's because it's going to be fun. I have been driven up that eastern coast, but I've never actually done it via ship. So it's going to be awesome. We're going to pop in at Eden, which is Eden has has a dairy, not dairy. Well, it's got a cheese factory there and a couple of other things going on there, and it is actually quite beautiful territory around that space. So it's going to be fun, and then hopefully we can meet up with some other YouTubers who will be in Sydney who live in Sydney at the time. So that's going to be awesome. Um, James is saying good day to some people, so that's awesome. Um, now coming out from you guys in the chat, who's doing what and who's cruising where? And I'm not talking about the Spirit of Tasmania. And I believe the Spirit of Tasmania is supposedly getting a couple new ships. Unfortunately, the Spirit is no longer at Port Melbourne, or sorry, at Port Melbourne, which is where the cruise ships go. Um, but they are going. It now goes out of Geelong down to Devonport and Launceston, I believe. But I also believe that there's going to be two new ships coming in, and I'm not sure where they're headed. So, in order for you to go on the Spirit of Tasmania, the Spirit of Tasmania is kind of an awesome ferry. It goes twice a day. So, well, it used to go twice a day out of here. And I believe at one point it actually did, well, I did actually see it sail out of Sydney, go along the west coast straight down to, sorry, the east coast straight down to Tasmania. But I don't think that it was profitable enough, and so I think they stopped it because of that. I was actually having a chat with one of the people who was working on board the ship at the time. Kenny is saying that he can't send regular texts. Don't have the cellular service. So, Kenny, the best bet would be what Michael Land's suggestion is. What about WhatsApp? WhatsApp works really well. Jonesy is saying that he sailed in a yacht from Sydney to Port Stephens. That was fun. Greg is saying that yes, it did go from Sydney once. I think it actually did a couple of years out of Sydney, but then they found that it wasn't profitable. So there you go. I did send a message, a Facebook message. So Meg, look on Facebook. So some interesting shipping is happening now. Still, if you're sailing out of Australia, you need to test and have a negative test. You have to fail the test in order to get on the ship, which is great because a failure means that it's a negative. It's not a positive, and if it's a positive, you fail your cruise. So if you pass the test, you don't cruise. But if you don't pass the test, you go on your cruise. And I reckon we should do away with the test anyway, because the way they're doing the testing is an honor system. Yes, I did the test. Who says I did the test? That's an interesting one. At the end of the day, folks, you know what? I wish they would do the same thing with aircraft. Because if they do the same thing with aircraft, then you know what? There will be fun. You know, the aircraft wouldn't have many people on board. Kenny's asking the question, are you on WhatsApp, Meg? So Meg, answer the question. And Jonesy is doing pretty much the same as me. He's good at failing tests. So there we go. James is saying g'day to Greg. There we go. Now, I was given a bit of a challenge the other day by a lady by the name of Raquel, who has a channel called Cottonwood. Jonesy, you'd remember Cottonwood something or other. Anyway, what this does is there are a host of questions here which are basically related to what they call their winter questions. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to do these questions. I'm going to ask the questions and answer them. And then I'm going to challenge, and it's one of these that you've got to challenge people to do. All right, everybody's busy hiding. I know. But it's been done to me often enough, so I'm going to pay some people with the benefit. Okay, before we go there, let me get some statements out here. So there we go. Markaland says, yes, she is, Kenny. I was chatting to her there earlier. Hopefully her phone hasn't died yet. And Philip is saying, or do you test before you're allowed in Southland? Mate, we haven't been tested before going into Southland. If you have, well then, I don't know. But Southland is not really the perpetrator of all this stuff, in my opinion. It's the cruise ships. Sorry. Greg has failed every test so far. Good on you. Jonesy is saying good day to James. Okay, the governor, Sean. You haven't seen the news about flights and China, have you? No, but then China does its bit, so we're not. I don't know about what's going in and out of China, but we here don't test aircraft or people getting on and off aircraft. Yes, what happens to this last night? Yeah, I know. You know what happened? We got so engrossed in what we were talking about in terms of music that I actually forgot about it, and so did you, right? But I'm going to do it, and then you're going to do it, okay? Um, again, Kenny's trying to get Meg's WhatsApp. Okay. From Thursday, January the 5th, travelers arriving in Australia from China will be required to undertake a test within 48 hours prior to travel and show evidence of a negative test result. Okay, that's one. What about everybody else? And that's being sent around the world anyway, by the looks of it. It's in the US too, and probably in the UK by the sounds of the governor. So that's exciting. All right, let me get on to these questions because I really don't want to do them, but that's exciting. Okay, so here we go. Question number one was, what is your favorite quote? My favorite quote. My favorite quote probably is. I don't actually have a favorite quote, but then if somebody says to me, F off, and I'll say to them, how shall I F off, O Lord? And that comes from the movie The Life of Brian. Close enough. Question two is, aside from the necessities, what's one thing you cannot go without? Coffee. What are your hobbies? My hobbies are I do karate and I do my YouTube. Question number 4. Have you ever been snow skiing? Nah. Can't even spell the word snow skiing, let alone do it. What's your favorite soup? Jewish penicillin, chicken soup. Favorite activity to do in the snow? Stay at home next to the heater. Would you rather go ice skating or rollerblading? Ice skating, funnily enough. Mittens or gloves? Gloves. Would you prefer a workout in the... How would you prefer to work out in the winter? How I usually work out in the summer as well, doing karate. What is the last book you read? The last book I read. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I haven't been too successful at either. Do you prefer a hardback book or a Kindle? A hardback book, because I like to draw in them. I like to mark. No, don't think that way, Governor. And knowing Mike, he's probably gone to the gutter as well. No, if I find a quote that's meaningful, I like to circle it or underline it and then go back to it. A podcast that you feel you have to share. Well, anything that's related to cruising, I share them all. Favorite winter memory as a child? Favorite winter memory as a child? Probably spending time with my grandmother. And my grandmother used to have this apartment where she had a window, and underneath the window was these storage cupboards with sliding doors. And my sister and I used to go and hide in there. That was fun. Do you have winter traditions? Yeah, pray for summer. And does your family prefer cards or board games? Um, well, if I go to my parents' place, it's generally we'll play cards, something like Radio Rummy. Otherwise, we'll do something like Rummy Cub, which is, I suppose you could call it a board game, but it's a game with tiles. At any rate, Jonesy, you've got to complete that. I sent you the questions. Um, and Mike, I think I'll get you to do it. And the Gov, I'll get you to do these. The questions will be in the description when the show gets rendered after we're completed. So there we go. All right. So it's just the Chinese that are being tested, which I can understand. The governor is saying, favorite quote, put the cream on twice a week and it should clear up. Okay. Jonesy's favorite is Hogan's, that's not a knife. Greg, good day, good evening, and good night. Are you pulling the? Oh yeah, that's the Truman Show. Philip is going, if a man can remember the girl's eye color after spending the night, means the girl. What? There we go. You're going into these titillating ones again. James, to Kenneth, Meg has no electric. Meg's actually using her, was using her phone, and if her phone's run out of power, then we won't have any Meg, but otherwise we will have her. James is saying read cruise shipbook. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool, because then you would have kept up to date with what's going on. Philip is saying, time you did something so silly it almost killed you. Yes, such as? Traveling Mike was, hey, I was not thinking anything until you mentioned it. Don't let the pages stick together. Oh, oh, that's good. Philip, I was playing Evil Knievel on my bike and crashed going over the jump. Yeah, how do you do that? Was it your bicycle that you were talking about? The governor is saying to Jonesy, I see you've played knifey spoony before. The governor is saying, will Elena be taking part in these questions? I haven't actually shown her the questions, but you know what? I might keep them up and ask her to answer them on Friday night for those across the pond, or Saturday our time. Mike is saying good day to James. So, you know, that's a possibility. I mean, unless she totally reneges, and who knows what'll happen. But I will put those in the description and on the Down Under Cruises. And guys, be my guest. See how you go, and hopefully everything will pan out okay. We'll get some interesting answers going there. Now, what's next? Well, the next thing that we've got happening is, I know that Arthur from Arthur's Cruises will be getting on board the Grand Princess in Adelaide on Sunday. That ship will then dock in at Melbourne on Monday. We will spend some time with him going round the city of Melbourne. and there will be some. We will be having some fun together. Just updating each other on what's around, plus getting some content for video, and then after that we'll be putting some more video out. I do have some other videos that are coming out. Just there's another one to come out fairly shortly on the first time cruises series that we're doing, plus a couple of other things that are coming out. So there will be lots of video content coming out from our channel, as well as we've got to complete the cruise. We haven't even got onto the cruise ship yet, but that will be the next video on the Down Under Cruises group cruise. And then once we've completed that series, so a couple of series coming out, and then there will be some other content. So all to come out within the next few days or so, and see how we go. So we're looking forward to a busy time. We know that in a couple of days we'll be going on to our normal brunch session, and when we get a little bit further in, within the next day or two, next week or two, we might be hearing from our new recipients, those that are going on the Fantastic Studios group cruise to the West Caribbean. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to learn more about the people who are going to share time with the Fantastic Studios group, and it'll be fun. So yes, so James has got some videos coming out in March, so that'll be good. We're only in January though, so we're trying to get January out of the way with some of our videos from our last cruise. It does take a bit of time doing editing, you know, especially when you're a bit of a techno challenged person, but we get there and we learn. The governor's got some new videos on in production. I know we are all shocked. Yes, I am shocked because I haven't seen anything decent out of you for a while. Well, no, your shorts are really good. Rob, the governor is saying he expects to see me later live from my office. You expect to see me later live from my office. Are you serious? Then Greg knows exactly where I am. I like to keep him guessing. I'm glad you're in the UC and Greg's down here, because I got to keep you two apart. It's bad enough you tell Ilana everything, and then you go and tell Greg as well. Oh my God! Then I've got two of them over my shoulder. It's hard to be the boss, you know. Well, one of them. I only wear the pants because Ilana buys them for me. So there we go. Always watching, Wazowski. Always watching. No. Yeah. That was a Monsters Inc. thing. And sorry, Greg, you're not the lady. What's her name? I can never remember her name. But she's always watching, Wazowski. Always watching. There we go. Yes, so coming up to the hour, we'll be bringing it in fairly shortly, but there we go. Okay, Mike, ... Oh no, that's looking. Yeah, okay, I get that. The governor, my reach is far and all-encompassing. No one is free from the gov. Yeah, well, we told Lizzie thought that was the case as well. Look what happened to her. And then we've got young Charlie there. So the question is whether or not we're going to stay with you, mob, or whether we're going to do stuff on our own. There's a few countries thinking that now. Maybe even Scotland, Wales and Ireland. But, you know, stranger things could happen. Stranger things could happen. Stream Elements is saying, please support the channel by purchasing our merch from the Down Under Cruises. We have 2 Down Under Cruises channel stores. Because any money that we make from you getting items from these stores go into Helping Hands for Cruising, so we can get some more recipients on board a ship. There we go. So now we're coming to the tail end. And folks, I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Look out for Saturday, our time at 2 p.m. or as they say in the classics, at Friday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern. And so we will look forward to catching up with you guys then. Otherwise, folks, I want to say have a great week, have a great night, and we shall catch up with you next time. Have a great day.